a little bit of restoration today. You may recognize this as being the main hatch. It sits above the helm in the main cabin on the roof. As you can see, it's in pretty poor condition. It's quite badly rotted in some areas. Well, when I say rotted, deteriorated. It's still in one piece. Main sections along here, you can see that wood's pretty much 50% of it's gone, and around the edging as well. And then depending on its orientation, like everything else on the boat, you can see the other side's actually in not too bad condition, and the same over the other side. So first things first, we're going to do some stripping, get it all back as far as I can. Then, as the usual with trying to restore woodwork, wood hardener and then filler. I won't be trying to restore the timber. I'm going to glass this. I'm going to put a skin of fiberglass over the top and around the sides. Background noise. Once I get all the paint off, I can get a much better idea of what the timber looks like. In some areas it's quite soft around here, around this corner, and a few other bits as well. So there we are. So that's my little project for today. So let's crack on. Moderate amount of success with the paint stripper. I mean, I think when you've got incredibly old paint that's just so sort of soaked in and all the rest, paint stripper's never going to get it all off. Plus, because it's so old, it cracks and all the rest. Let all that dry off now. I've put some epoxy down in this corner here to try and sort of get a bit of rigidity back in the frame. And the next step is put some wood hardener on, but I'll do it from underneath to begin with, and then I'll do it again on the top side. So let's crack on. soaking it up like a sponge. Okay, let that dry for a day or so. So you'll see here this corner's loose. Still got to glue that, but I've not glued it yet until I've straightened all this out. I think I can rescue this corner and rescue that beading. And then the only other major piece of work is this guy here. I'll show you that. So this has lost way too much material. So I'm going to cut into that and then I'll lap joint, whatever you call it. Put a bit of timber in there. Okay, well it's coming along. It's looking better. As you can see, put some filler in, epoxy filler in on that side, on that rail. I'm still debating whether I try and put some timber in there and actually fill that gap, or whether I can get away with the epoxy. But so I've started to sand that down a bit. Obviously I've got to put a bit more in to smooth it right out. And it does feel a bit more solid, particularly, I don't know if I showed you, but I glued the corners. I've still got a little bit more to do. So I'm just going to put another coat of wood hardener on, down in this corner particularly, but just along here. That's the worst of the rot, or the worst of the deterioration. Up here, for a 50, 60-year-old, however old this hatch is, it's surviving, or has survived reasonably well. So I'm going to crack on with that, and then yeah, and then move on from there.